I call the August 18th Occupancy Tax Board meeting to order at 2:32 p.m. on August 18th. Can I get a roll call?
Member Moore,
Here.
Member Desjardins,
Here.
Member Slayton, not present. Member Bitzer,
Sorry. Here.
Vice Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank
Just turned
you.
it on.
At this time, we have the minutes from our last meeting on April 21st. Oh, I'm sorry. We have the agenda. I need a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, now the minutes. Are there any corrections to or revisions to the minutes? Anything from the prior? Then I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from last meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, this is the time that the meeting is open to public comments. This is for those wishing to speak but are not presenting today. Is there any public comments?
We have none, Vice Chair.
Thank you. All right, being that there is none, we are moving on to our regular business. Item number 2 is to consider applications to fill the lodging position 2. It's currently a vacant position, which is a partial term, and will end on March 31st of 2023. We have one applicant, Justin Jones.
That is correct.
There any I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept Justin Jones.
I'll second.
Hang on just a second, Bonnie.
I'll make a motion to recommend Justin Jones for the
Partial.
partial lodger's tax position. The mayor? To the mayor.
Is there a second?
No, I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Roxanne is joining on GoTo also. She's listening.
Hello, Roxanne.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
All right, item number 3 on the regular item is to consider and vote on an election of a chair position. I open the floor up to nominations for chair.
I nominate Carrie.
Any other nominations?
I'll second that. We need to make a motion still, right? Okay, so we have one nomination for chair on the floor. I'll take a motion at this time.
I move to nominate Carrie Moore as the chair of the Occupancy Tax Board board.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion?
You just need to vote on it.
Oh, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Voice vote.
Any opposed? Motion passes. At this time, I will take nominations for a vice chair. I nominate Roxanne Slayton. Is there any other nominations? I make a motion that we accept Roxanne Slayton as a vice chair for the Occupancy Tax Board.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. Item number 5 on the lodger's tax funding request is for the 37th Milkman Triathlon. Did you want to introduce it, or?
Kelly's here to present.
Good.
Good, how are you?
Please state your name and organization for the record.
Okay, Kelly Goodpasture, Milkman Triathlon, Larry Marshall, Farm Bureau Larry Marshall's office.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm new, the gal that, has come in the past to present, is now employed by the Roswell School District, which is wonderful for them, great loss for us. This is my first time to be here, so I'm a little bit nervous. I wasn't really sure what to expect. So we're just here to, visit about, we filled out the application for funding for the lodger's tax. We are requesting the amount of $2,000. We do have athletes that come in from all over the area. And the reason we're asking for the lodger's tax is due to the fact that they do stay a night here in Roswell. Due to the event being down in Dexter, and there are no lodging unless they bring their own room or it will be lodged.
Kelly, we're getting a microphone for you.
Oh, I don't want the world to hear me.
Now they are. Now you're famous on YouTube.
Oh, gee, thanks. So that's why we're here requesting funding. So really not sure what else I need information to give you guys. So maybe some questions from you guys to help steer me the right way.
Does anybody have any questions for Kelly?
I'm brand new, so I don't know what to ask yet, so if you'll help me, we'll,
Well, and maybe I need to explain a little bit. The Milkman Triathlon is a sanctioned triathlon for these athletes. So if they qualify at this event, then they can go on to the next event. It starts in the morning, triathlon, they swim, bike, and run. And it's held down at Lake Van down in Dexter.
On your marketing budget, on the entry forms, you're showing $1,100 that's eligible. How do you send out those entry forms? Where are they distributed from?
I believe we mail those out. This is one of the entry forms. Like I said, I am really new, so I'm not really sure. But I think we mail them out.
Okay, so
Meaning,
it's for printing?
yes.
do you use the past year's entry for a mailing list? Entry, you know, people that've been here before?
I
Probably.
don't, I
Probably,
can't
yes,
answer,
so-
I can't answer that directly. I This is the 37th year, so I know we're tied in with an event that takes place in Lubbock, and so Mr. Marshall is tied in with the coordinators over there, so I know there's a lot of sharing of mailing lists. I have numbers from 2019, if anybody needs some numbers.
You might not be able to answer this, so I'm just going to throw it out, and that's fine if you can't.
Okay, I appreciate that.
How do you keep track of your lodging impact? How do you know how many people stayed in the hotels?
I don't know, but two, I'm guessing that it is maybe on our form, and if not, I think in the past it might have been through an email, through emails.
Okay. I highly recommend that on all future events, making sure that you can track those numbers accurately
Okay,
by either using hotel codes, so that way when people register, you can get that information directly from the hotels,
okay,
or that they provide specifically how many people stayed in their hotels.
okay. And they may have. I was just kind of thrown really fast. So Keisha, the Pascal that was doing all this, that had been doing it for 13 years, she may have all of that in the computer somewhere.
Okay, well, with you being new, just.
I will. I'll make note of that, and I
That's
appreciate
kinda like
that
a
help.
Key component there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Any other questions for Kelly?
Is page 17 an estimate, or do you think that's the real numbers from before?
Page 17.
It's a
It's the
survey.
attendance, the event attendance form.
Oh, okay. I have an event survey here that she put together, that Keisha put together for 2019. And so what number are you looking at?
Well, I was looking at the attendance and the motel impact. I'm just wondering if these are estimates or if you think that these were really numbers from last year.
I think the room nights may be an estimate, but we do have real numbers for the ones that participate in the event.
Okay.
And the spectators?
That's probably a guesstimation. They bring their families with them. I do know, I have been out there and have volunteered and worked the event. And so not do you only have the athlete, but usually their families are with them. So, you have a spouse, and I've seen lots of kids out there. And we have had other participants come to help with, help
Sorry.
entertain the kids.
Sorry.
As in, like, maybe the mobile dairy classroom has been there, or there have been some other organizations out there to do fun things with the kids. So I do know that they bring their families with them.
Do you have anybody doing like a clicker counter?
No.
There's no physical?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But I can ask on that one.
I know. Thank you.
Sure.
Sorry, I don't mean to put you under pressure here.
No, I'm just going to be honest. I mean, I don't know. So,
Any other questions for Kelly?
I have a question for us, since I'm new. Do we know how much per room we make, that, quote, we make? How much?
It's 5% of the rate.
Lodgers tax collections, 5%.
5%, which is approximately averages out to, I don't know how much rooms cost.
The
It's going to
average-
vary.
Yeah. $30, $40 a room?
The average, I think, in Roswell is probably about 99.
Okay.
That sounds about right, Carrie.
Thank you, Roxanne. Any other questions for Kelly?
Well, if the hotel lodging impact is as it was last year, and my math, really fast math, is correct, it would seem like we get at least over $300 from the motels only themselves, plus other impacts. So, for whatever.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
At this time, I move to send the request from the Milkman Triathlon to the Finance Committee without a recommendation from the Occupancy Tax Board.
I second that.
Is there any discussion?
Is that a yes?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Alright, the next item on the agenda is to consider the lodger's tax funding for Hike It, Spike It. I believe we have Jim.
Jim Matucci is, are you on the call?
I am. Hello, everybody.
Welcome, Jim.
Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll just give a brief explanation. Hike It and Spike It, this will be, are you ready for me to talk? I should ask that first.
Yes, go ahead.
This is our second 25th anniversary. We're not 50 years old though. We had to cancel the event last May because of COVID concerns. And so basically we're extending our 25th to Memorial Day of 2021. Over the last 25 years and previous to that with Gus Macker basketball. So for a total of 33 years, Clay Avery and I have been the local organizers. Again, my name is James Matucci with Hike It and Spike It. We have an enormous relationship with the city in just about every place there is, not just lodger's tax, but with streets and parks and the police and the fire. And this is truly a community putting on an event to create an economic impact for Roswell. And we've been very successful at doing that. There will be no hotel rooms left available. We do try to book a hotel room through, I think, 4 different web portals, and of course, no rooms are available every year. We do spill over to selling rooms in Ruidoso, Artesia, and Portales as well. We have usually an estimated economic impact, direct impact of $4 million, right around there. We're not quite sure how the COVID's going to affect our event. Luckily, we still have some time between now and next May. Besides the lodger's tax, I believe we usually get somewhere around $35,000 worth of other city services from the other departments. We were, when you had the different events classified, I forget what the name of it was now, but we were one of your premier events. We are the largest event in Roswell, and I believe we're the second largest event in the state of New Mexico, besides the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta. We have over 500 volunteers, and anybody that hasn't been out there truly needs to go. I think we had players from almost every state last year that traveled to Roswell. Half of our players are from outside the state of New Mexico. And usually, I think we were just shy of 3,000 players last year. So I'll open it up for any questions. If anybody has any, if you're not familiar with the event, I'll be more than happy to go into more detail.
Jim, on your marketing budget plan, Internet Andrew Hogan,
Yes, ma'am.
What specifically are those charges for?
So he is the gentleman that hosts our website for us. So when a player goes on to, not just the website, but when a team goes on to enter into the event, we're basically using his platform to capture all of that information. And then it becomes all digital. There's, we used to get all that information by paper before. And then, the teams can go in and change their different players periodically, and then they can submit their form. So that's the primary focus of that.
Okay, so the way I understand the requirements is that web hosting does not qualify as an eligible expense. That would be specifically if you had a advertising banner on somebody else's website would qualify, but web hosting and web design does not.
Okay, and that's fine. You can certainly remove that. I believe we're well over the threshold with our
And
other items.
the printing at PS Sports, what is that?
So PS Sports is who we contract with. They're all the people from Michigan that usually show up. The printing is for all of the brochures that are mailed to all of the players and all of the posters that are printed in placed primarily in all of our sponsor locations, but they do go everywhere.
And all of those are sent out to people that participate not in Roswell, or is that some of it sent to people who participate from here?
Well, no, I mean, if you've participated in the last 3 years, you're going to get one of those brochures. Primarily, or like I said, half of our players are outside the state of New Mexico. So, people in Roswell that have played will get one of those brochures as well.
Okay, that has to be broken out so that we know how much of it goes to out of town or outside 40 miles of Roswell versus how much is here. The ones that are mailed here or within the 40-mile limit are not eligible for lodger's tax funding.
Okay, I certainly can get you a breakdown of our bulk mail, the mailing from our bulk mail for those.
Does anybody else have any questions for Jim?
I have one question. On the permit application on the first page, it says it's requesting a waiver of fees for in-kind costs and services, and that's not part of the request for lodger's tax funding, right?
That is correct. That's separate from this $24,999.
Okay.
And that's basically the two big portions of that are the service that the fire department provides as well as the police department. Any services that Parks and Rec, streets, I mean, they do a lot of mowing and stuff like that as well. So that's what that other money is.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, Jim, on the marketing budget plan, the police security, the $2,000, that's not for the police. That's actual extra security on top of them. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's for overnight security that we have on site. So they are not police officers. That is the local security business. I can't remember their name right now. Allstate does it now, I believe.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jim?
I have a question. You have the total visitor attendance at 37,000, and then out of town visitor you got 4,378. How do you track that, and are the fans included in that?
It is. So the police department does the estimate of the total number of attendance. I mean, there's no way to hand count everybody because Cielo Grande is such a big facility and we use all of the facility. So people are coming from every different direction. So we asked the police department to estimate how many people are at our event each year. And the other number, I believe, and I don't have that report in front of me, but that's the Chamber of Commerce originally came up with, what percentage of those are family and friends. So basically, we start with our players, we add a certain amount of family that goes to the event with them, and then that's extrapolated out. If you're out of town, then there's a higher value, dollar value that we give those person than if you're from Roswell, you get a lower value or no value in that calculation.
So real fast, sorry, I'm not seeing it. What was your actual registration count?
Okay, I'm going to say, because I don't have that report right in front of me because I'm at home right now, I'm not at the office, but I believe it was 20, just shy of 2,500 players, give or take 100.
And that's players, not teams?
That's players. We had just under 500 teams last year. So, and I might be wrong on those numbers, but if we average 6 players for 500 teams, there's 3,000. So I'd say we're between 2,500 and 3,000 players. I wouldn't be lying to you.
And how many nights do the players stay?
So the majority of the players and their families that are traveling from out of town do come in on Friday. We have our registration beginning on Friday from 2 to 7. Games begin at 8 o'clock on Saturday. So depending on where your draw is on that, most teams will want to come in and get that registration done beforehand. Then they also stay Saturday night. They're guaranteed a minimum of 3 games, which that means every team in the tournament is guaranteed to play at least 1 game on Sunday. So we are pretty much forcing people to stay 2 nights. No one's going to be eliminated that first day.
Okay, so that's 3 nights?
No, just
2
2 nights. There are some that do 3. The majority are just Friday night, Saturday night.
Any other questions for Jim? Okay, thank you, Jim.
Thank you all. I appreciate everything you guys do as well.
I move to send the request from the Hike It, Spike It to the Finance Committee without a recommendation from the Occupancy Tax Board. Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
Was that motion to accept, to recommend?
To send it to the Finance
To
without a
recommend.
recommendation.
Thank you. I have hearing problems.
Is there any discussion?
Roxanne, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here. I have no discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right. Item number 7 on the agenda is lodging request funding from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra.
Yes.
Please state your name.
Hi, my name is Sherry Perman. I'm the Executive Director for the Roswell Symphony Orchestra.
Welcome.
Thank you. So on behalf of the orchestra and our board of directors, I just wanted to start off by thanking you for your support in the past. You know, your support allows us to enrich the musical culture of southeastern New Mexico. This year, we're proud to celebrate our 61st season and our 48th consecutive season with world-renowned conductor John Fair as our maestro. We have a core audience of roughly 2,000 people who attend our concerts throughout the year. This past spring, the RSO generated approximately 160 total room nights for our February concert alone. That being said, we're always actively working to improve those numbers by becoming more visible in Roswell and our surrounding communities. We've also diversified our programming to appeal to our New Mexican demographics, which in turn will bring bigger audiences from outside of Roswell. This spring, we have 2 concerts planned. On February 27th, we will be presenting a family concert featuring Peter and the Wolf, which is a symphonic fairy tale for children. We're hoping that will bring a lot of families in. Our season finale concert in May 2021 will be in conjunction with the Roswell Cinco de Mayo Festival. The RSO has hired the Mariachi Aztlan, a nationally renowned mariachi group, for 3 days of musical performances and educational outreach. They'll be joined on stage with the Ballet Folklorico from the University of Texas. We anticipate that these 2 well-known ensembles will be a large draw for patrons all over New Mexico as well as Texas. We hope you'll consider supporting our organization this spring in the second half of our 2020-21 season. We're requesting $4,700, which will mainly go towards digital marketing campaigns designed to target audiences in New Mexico and West Texas. We've chosen this form of advertising because we had great success with it last spring, and it really increased our out-of-ticket sales. We'll also advertise via digital billboards in Artesia, Las Cruces, Hobbs, and we're looking for areas in Texas as well. Funding will be used for both of our spring concerts. Thank you so much for your consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. On your marketing budget plan, you have website listed at $300. Can you tell me about that?
Sure, it's just the fee to be able to run our website year-round.
Web hosting?
Sorry?
Your web hosting?
Yeah.
Okay. That is not eligible for lodger's tax expense.
Okay.
So the things on a website that are eligible would be banner ads on somebody else's website.
Okay, got it.
And your email, Facebook ads?
Yeah, so we normally run emails where we're advertising, and we have a whole email list for outside of Roswell. And then we also do Facebook and Instagram ads that are targeted outside of Roswell as well. So different areas in New Mexico and Texas and even Colorado areas.
So how much of that is costing you to email?
Email?
Yeah, email versus the Facebook ads.
So last year we were using Constant Contact, which is about $45 a month. Facebook ads, it kind of ranges based on how many event ads you do, but this year I think we spent about $260 on Facebook ads for one of our concerts.
And your target data is showing that it's outside the Roswell area?
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions for Sherry?
Hi, I'm Bonnie.
Hi.
Just as information,
Yeah.
how many of your performers, your orchestra members, come from out of state?
That's a good question. It depends on the concert, but I would say 75% probably at least. So for when we have a normal big concert, we might have 40 musicians coming in from out of town, and that includes our maestro comes from Texas as well. So when they come into town, we pay for usually 2 or 3 nights of hotel rooms based on the project.
So they get their rooms paid for by the
We-
Symphony?
Yeah, it
That
depends.
Goes
First,
to the motel and back to us, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And actually, musicians pay for some of the rooms. It depends. We pay for first-tier musicians, and then some other musicians. We definitely pay for maestros' travel, and we do pay mileage as well for our musicians. So when they're filling up fuel, that's coming from us, but going into Roswell's economy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is your ticket sales for out-of-town visitors?
From this past spring. So February, we anticipated about 20 to 25% of out of town out of our total. And that doesn't include musicians coming out of town, but based on the survey results, we got about a quarter of the surveys back in relation to how many audience members we have. So, you know, it's kind of an estimate, but I'd say about 20, 25%.
So 25% of the 500 to 600 people?
Well, in February, we had about 450 concert goers.
So about 112 tickets sold to out-of-town.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys not track that data specifically when you sell tickets?
So it's tracked, and we need to do a better job in the future, but it's tracked on Brown Paper Tickets, which is the online server that we use. So you can see if people bought not through myself, you can see the zip code of the customer. But anybody who comes into the office, anybody who calls, we generally don't keep track of that information. So in the future, that's definitely something for me to, you know, take notice of when we have our next concert in person.
Well, it would be kind of a fair assumption that those out of town are not coming in and buying tickets in person, right? Unless they're buying at the door?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose you mean coming into the office before the concert, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we get several phone calls as well, and
And this is for the whole year, correct?
yeah, it's for the whole spring. We have 2 concerts for sure planned in February and May, and then a tentative one for March, just based on what we're able to do this fall, basically.
So using the information you just provided with the 40 musicians, and I know this is probably a higher concert than some of them, and the numbers fluctuate a lot, but we're looking at 152 out-of-town participants per concert, and there's 3 of them. Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm having one of those moments.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm honestly hoping that programming will boost our out-of-town visitors just by having some groups that are more, you know, more well-known and from out of town themselves. So that's the goal.
How many nights do your musicians stay?
Our musicians stay, if it's a 5 rehearsal gig, then they stay 3 nights, and if it's a 4 rehearsal gig like our December concert is, then it's 2 nights.
Okay. So the reality is that technically you guys can get specific numbers. You know how many musicians are coming in and how many nights they stay for each concert.
Yeah, I know musician numbers, yeah.
And you really know how many out-of-town tickets you sell, since most of it's on brown paper. So the numbers that you're providing, you're still giving us estimated numbers and not real numbers.
Let's see. I mean, I don't have the specific numbers in front of me. I would say when I was estimating for last spring, I estimated if we received a quarter of the surveys and 20 people said that they came from out of town, I would assume that, you know, that would be the same for the people that didn't fill out the survey. So that's how I calculated that number. And then I was able to calculate exactly how many hotel rooms we paid for. So that's how I got the total number, was by how many nights musicians stayed and how many patrons approximately would come from out of town and stay. And probably just one
So you're
night.
using the survey data to get your, and then the
Yeah, survey
musician-
data and then the musician counts, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Sherry.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Okay. I move to send the request from the Roswell Symphony Orchestra spring concert to the Finance Committee without a recommendation from the Occupancy Tax Board.
I second.
Is there any discussion?
No discussion from me.
Because of my hearing again, are we saying we want them to get the money or we don't want them to get the money?
We are sending it to the Finance Committee without a recommendation from us.
Without.
Yes.
When do we make an amendment to the motion?
I'll entertain a friendly amendment.
I would like to amend the amount that they're asking for from 4,700 to 2,500, which is a little bit more than they got last time.
We have a motion to recommend to the Finance Committee in the amount of $2,500. Do I need to do the whole 50%?
Yes.
Okay. If I'm doing a friendly motion, though, do I have to go through this? Okay. All right, on the table, we currently have a motion to recommend to the Finance Committee to fund the Roswell Symphony Orchestra in the amount of up to $2,500 for eligible lodger tax expense at 50% through reimbursement of funding per contract agreement between the City of Roswell, New Mexico and the Roswell Symphony Orchestra. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second from Roxanne. Any discussion? So my original motion was to send it without putting any funding on it whatsoever, because we don't know how much money we have, and let finance figure out what they want to do.
I agree with that because we're not saying we're going to give them money, but we're not saying we're not going to give them money. So it's up to.
It's up to finance to kind of decide.
No. I was,
Okay, I thought that by just not recommending anything, we were just like kind of okay with, you know, their request.
Say that again, Roxanne?
I thought that by not recommending anything, we were basically saying, okay, you know, we're fine with their request. I didn't realize that it meant like, all right, you handle this, Finance Committee.
With us not sending a recommendation states that we are not saying to give them money or not give them money, is that we have no opinion on it at this time.
Okay.
have a comment?
I agree with that because we don't know what we're going to have.
Can I take back my second then and just go back to what we originally did?
No, ma'am, we still have a vote, though. Is there any other discussion?
Okay.
Yes, Bonnie?
I was told whether this is true, and I don't remember where, that our budget maybe for the year is about 50,000? Is that something that I made up, or is that something that's real?
The budget varies from year to year. The numbers,
I think that's what we were told last time. I think that's what we were told last time.
Now 50,000? Okay, so
Chair.
we've now recommended 30, approximately 30 for Hike It, Spike It, 2,000 for the triathlon, which leaves us 18,000 left.
I just want to
Quote,
jump in. I'm
sort
going to
of.
jump in for clarification. The year started July 1st with 0. That's the first of our year. So
at
we don't
this-
roll it over from last year.
So
That's why
essentially,
she-
are you telling me that we should say no to everybody?
She's not making a recommendation. She's putting that to the finance committee to make
Yeah, I mean,
the
I know
decision. Yeah.
we recommend to them, but if we have some idea how much the finance committee might be able to do with lodger's tax, I mean, we're flying blind if we don't have any idea how much they might approve or not approve.
the current budget in the lodger's tax line item for us is 0. We have no money.
Well, then we could approve everybody.
Which is why I've been sending them to the finance committee without a recommendation from us. Finance will have a clear idea if any money goes back into our line item when they meet before the council next month. This month.
Okay.
Next month.
So if we go to the finance committee with a recommendation, without a recommendation for the Symphony, are they inclined to say we're not going to give them money? I mean, this is,
They're inclined to say whatever they want, whether we give them a recommendation or not.
okay.
Just because we recommend them something doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but if we probably recommend to do nothing, they will probably do nothing.
So the last meeting they had with our recommendations, there was 0 money sent out for lodger's tax. So nobody was funded. Now, the way I understand it is if things change and events start happening again, they can come back, based off of the last city council meeting, is that they could come back and ask for money, but because everything is in such disarray that nobody really knows what we have going forward or not, and what we can do going forward or not. Which is why I've been saying, at this time, we have no money, so our recommendation would be to turn them down because we have no money. But instead of doing that, would be to say, hey, finance, we'll leave it up to you. If you think there's money to fund them, okay, so the motion on the floor is to recommend to finance in the amount of $2,500 for the Symphony Orchestra. It has been seconded. Is there any other discussion? I'll take a vote now. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. The noes have it. The adjusted recommendation does not go, so we go back to the original motion. The original motion was to send the request for the Symphony Orchestra to the Finance Committee without a recommendation from the Occupancy Tax Board. Is there any further discussion? I can take a vote, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No?
Do we need to call her out?
Roxanne, can you hear us?
Yes, sorry, I said aye, but I didn't hit the unmute button.
Okay, so for the record, Roxanne said aye. So that's 3, 4, and 1 against. The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the lodger's tax reports in the convention center.
So our lodger's tax collection and commentary report, page 38 is for June. So this report shows the room nights reported by month and the lodger's tax collected by month. So we're on June, if you'll look at the last column there. So with a 23.6% occupancy for lodger's tax hotels here in Roswell, with a threshold of 50% from the government mandate, you can see that we're well below 50% occupancy here. So therefore, the revenue comes out to $44,713, and that is down significantly. Any questions?
Thank you.
So the convention center fee collection reports reflects the same, both being down. That is part of why we don't have the funds. Though I have some insight on the following month after this, it is looking a little better, so that is some shining light there. These reports are also trailing, so when you look at June, that's really the actuals for May. So that was one of the toughest months here. So as we look at that, we'll be able to really see kind of where we are moving forward. Any questions?
Any questions?
I do not have any questions.
All right. That is all we have on the agenda. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second. I make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? Call this meeting to end at 3:25. Thank you.
Next meeting is September 15th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting up with my
Thank you, staff.
nonsense.
Thanks, Roxanne.
I'll see y'all next month.